or Ms. Kowalski. I'm the teacher of the SUNY Science Research Program. I'll explain how the whole thing works, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me at any time, or if you want to wait till the end, that's fine. If you look around, I'll explain some of the posters that were made and entered into competitions last year. I'll explain all those in a little while, but just to give you some ideas of things that the course involves. So it is a co-enrolled course for their, assuming they start the course in their sophomore year, their junior and senior year, and I'll explain the whole thing. So how does the course work? So first of all, it's an elective. It's not mandatory. They usually take science research in conjunction with another science class. Biology, chemistry, doesn't matter what it is, sometimes 3. That just depends on what they want to take. So it's usually not a solo science course. It does meet the 21st Skills graduation requirement, so they don't have to worry about trying to take another course to fulfill that. This course will fulfill that requirement. I am the teacher for the course. What is the course? It's a very unique situation. I've never seen it till I got involved with this program. It's high school students working with PhD mentors, or highly qualified if it's not a PhD situation, to do authentic research. They're really creating their own experiment. They're really helping or assisting with an experiment. They're collecting the data. They're writing a research paper. They could potentially be published in a magazine or a journal magazine, and they get to enter competitions, all different types of competitions, depending on the type of research. And the important part we all like to know, potentially 12 college credits can be earned by the student from SUNY Albany, which means they're not AP credits, they will transfer from a college. So 10th or 11th graders are the ideal candidates to start the program because it is a potentially 3-year sequence. It could be 2, but it can be 3. And I'll explain the difference. If you are interested, you really should have a passion about one of the STEM, science, technology, engineering, math courses. You have to be self-motivated because it's all about you. You have to do the research. You have to write the paper. You have to make the deadlines. You have to fill out the applications, and nobody else can do it but you. So there's no group work. You have to be very self-motivated and keep up with deadlines. And you have to have a lot of passion about something because it's going to really encompass a good portion of your day and your academic year. And if you're doing well in your other classes, then you're qualified. There's no prerequisite for the course. Okay, 3 courses. And we're going to assume that you start as a sophomore. Okay, but either way, the first course does not get college credit. It's an honors level course, and it's called the Introduction to Research Methods. So you spend a year learning how to conduct authentic science research. You read journal articles after I teach you how. They're a difficult thing to read. They're small, tiny font, highly technical. And I teach them how to do that. I teach the students how to present. I teach the students how to write scientifically, which is different than writing. I call it writing on the second floor. The English writing is different than the science technical writing, and they don't know that. So there's a lot of teaching that has to go into this. So the student picks an area of interest that they like. And I'll give you examples of things that have been done on the past. And it's up to them and a conference with me. And we really research. They learn all the basics. They learn basic vocabulary. They learn technical vocabulary. They learn statistics so that they can analyze the data to find out if it's valid. There's a whole level of understanding that isn't taught in any other course in the building. But it definitely helps them enter college with the skills that they obtain from this class. So they identify their own specific topic. They may do research over the summer, which could enter into college credits. At the end of the school year, we do a symposium It's usually in May or June, depending on how the AP classes fall and graduation. And we do a symposium. And the first year, they usually will go to science competitions as observers so that they can see what they're going to do the following year. So the first year is really all background, teaching you how to write, teaching you how to make a technical PowerPoint presentation, teaching you how to present that technical PowerPoint presentation without my back to the audience, and making sure that everybody understands everything. So that's the first course. So that would be sophomore year. At the end of the sophomore year, the students start to get prepared to reach out to these mentors and to get contact with them. Sometimes it's Zoom, sometimes it's a phone call, sometimes you're lucky enough to be conveniently close. And it just depends. They've been all over. And my ideal plan is for you to have a mentor at the end of your sophomore year, so that the summer between your sophomore and junior year, you can actually work with that mentor to conduct your research, so you don't have to worry about it interfering with other schoolwork. It gives you a chance to get all your research done. It gives you an opportunity to travel if you want to or need to a set location, a hospital, a research clinic, down the shore if you're doing it at Monmouth University. We've had that happen. So I try to let them or encourage them to do as much research as you can over the summer for ease of pressure for your academic schedule the following year. But it doesn't always work. Okay, so the first chance you can get is doing some research between sophomore and junior year. If not, your research is done at the beginning of junior year, so that by this time in your junior year, you have your research done and you begin writing your paper, a scientific research paper that will be entered into probably at least 3 different competitions. In addition to that paper, making those posters, because some of the competitions are papers, some of the competitions are poster presentations, and the judges come to you and ask you questions and you need to answer the question. So it depends on the type of competition that you're entering in. You work with your mentor weekly, you work with me daily, you will again attend and present at the high school symposium, and again, you will attend competitions. The summer between junior and senior year, phase 2 of your research and or a whole new research project. Student choice, mentor choice, conversation. It's not always known until the very last minute what's going to happen. So you can continue to work with the same person and maybe do a second phase of your research, or maybe do a whole nother research program or a whole nother experiment on something different. Just depends on the situation. Again, you're going to write your second research paper. When I say research paper, for the record, we're talking between 15 and 20 pages of typed text. They will enter all of these different competitions, again, present their research at the science symposium, and again, enter competitions. Some competitions are reserved for seniors only. Some are juniors or seniors or any high school student. So it just depends on the competition, the year, the requirements that change. That's how the 3 courses are laid out. So course 3 would get 4 college credits. Course 2 is 4 college credits. The 2 summers that are optional, where you can do research, is where you get the other 2 and 2 college credits from. Therefore, up to 12. That's why I say up to 12, because sometimes the summer is not a time for people to do research. They have other plans, then there's nothing wrong with it. That's why I say up to 12 credits could be earned. So that is how the general works. Those are the fancy names. If you register, you actually go to SUNY. I have all the directives. I tell you how to go to SUNY, how to register. Now here is the bonus plan. Parents, you're going to love this part. $160 a class. Doesn't matter if it's 4 credits or 2 credits. Students get a $160 4-credit class. Maybe it'll be $170 next year. I don't know. But still, you can raise it. It's okay. At least that's compared to the other tuition. So that's how it worked. You actually register through SUNY. You would get a SUNY transcript, like an official SUNY transcript. Your grades are from SUNY. You get grades in the high school from me, but you actually get the grades from SUNY. Therefore, when you graduate and you want to apply to college, you can send your transcript. They can accept it and transfer you credits accordingly. So that is just for high school students, this fee. It's not for me. So again, just depends. Like I say, it's the summer between your sophomore and junior year, your whole junior year, the summer between junior and senior year, and then senior year if you want to do the college credits. That part is optional. It's just part of the program. Here's poster presentation. So sometimes they do poster competitions. They have to get dressed up, and it's all very technical. And that would be a poster forum where they stand in front of their posters and the judges come to them, ask them questions, and they usually have a set time in which all answers need to be repeated. Some ideas for projects that have been done. In the 21-22 school year, we had the impacts of salt flooding on juvenile maritime tree species. Thanks. Analyzing insect activity on native plants. For the math people, there's calculating the educational Gini coefficients of New Jersey County schools, food waste and sustainability in Kinnelon, and trends on overall COVID health. Our picture of our symposium. Another set of projects for the 22-23 school year was sea level rise on coastal invertebrates, calculating Gini coefficient in America. So that's an example of a second phase project. The first phase was New Jersey. Then the second phase was America. So that's just an example of how you can carry on a project from one phase to another. Native versus invasive plants, and comprehensive versus abstinent health curriculum education and teen pregnancy. Variety of things. Again, poster presentation. So this board gets the famous, everybody gets the attention. That's why everybody wants to look at it. It's the super board. So that competition has like a huge set of standards to make the presentation. And then some are just more casual. It just depends on our competition and where they are. This year's topics: proton beam therapy for cancer treatment, medicinal effects of mushrooms, phosphorus extraction from sludge, anemia, artificial intelligence and machine learning, the impact of climate change on the food supply, distribution, and relocation, and understanding the impact of gut microbiome. That's the current topics that they're electing to do research on, and right now they are in their 4th journal article and presentation stage that we go through coaching. If you've ever read a journal article, it's a very highly dense, packed piece of information where, like, if you read a page, you need to stop and walk away because it's going to hurt. So it takes a lot of time to read these things and break them down, and I help them with all of this along with their presentation skills, along with the way to stumble and speak and carry yourself, and then of course translating all of their data into a paper or a presentation so that they can enter competitions. So that's today's topics. That's our current class. And if you, I will have this presentation posted for you, but if you want to go into these are the links to the competitions and the page in SUNY for their explanation of the course. And the question that you all really want to know, besides the college credit part, is how does this help my child get through college? And I can tell you that it's very impactful. Most of the time, no one in college is going to take the time to teach you how to read a journal article, let alone find a journal article, let alone actually be able to put something together. I've learned over the years that when you say research, most of the time students translate that into a book report or 2 books and compare and contrast. That's not research. This is something you have to create that's novel. It needs to be new. It needs to be never done before. You need to have a variable that's never been studied. That part is very confusing for the first year until they get the hang of it. And then once they get the hang of it and get introduced to a mentor, and that mentor then coaches and guides them and helps them read and set a methodology up, We've had students work with people from Monmouth University, from Rutgers, from Montclair, from a native local invasive species group. So it's not always a university. It doesn't always need to be a university. It can be. We've had a student work with a doctor in the Army. Or was that Air Force? I think it was Air Force. And so you have your mentor is anybody. And with Zoom, it's literally worldwide. It can be in another country. That's totally fine, as long as they're willing to help you do their end. And really their name has to be attached to some paperwork for proof of authenticity of doing research. They can really be anywhere in the world for their mentors. And if they are interested in the science field, it will get them into that research and getting a bond with a professor in the school much quicker because, again, they know what research is. They're not saying they know what research is. No, here you go. Oh, I didn't grab a binder. They also will have a 3-inch binder filled by the end of that third year, probably before that, of all the journal articles they've read, all the presentations that they have done, plus a digital version. So, and to document and backlog all of their information, it's truly like a scientist. They have a timesheet they have to keep. There's so many hours they have to make a week. They have conferences with me every other week. It's a whole setup. It's a very organized thing and relaxed at the same time. So if you come in and you're like, I can't do it today, that's fine. You can do double tomorrow, or you can do it tonight, or here's your deadline. It has to happen. So it's a little bit of a college feel where there isn't somebody always, what are you doing? This is due tomorrow. This has to happen now. It's, here's your topic. You have a couple of days. Let's go through what we need to learn. Let's sit back down and work it out. So it's a constant motion. And then when they reach out to mentors, their actual interest of study might alter a little bit. Because maybe the person's not working on that topic anymore. Now they're working on this one. So maybe you're going to modify yours a little bit. Or you're going to go look for somebody else. But that's the general plan and the layout. My email, this is our science supervisor's email. Feel free to email me at any time, or you guys, student-wise, I'm in 315, right next to Mr. Gebhardt and Mr. P. If you want to come in and ask me any questions at any time. And feel free to ask me any questions at any time. Email me. I'd say call me, but it's probably easier if you email me and with a good time and I'll call you back. You're welcome to come look and see what the type of posters it is that they make. We are a sponsored, well, not sponsored, I guess we're co-enrolled with SUNY. So they have their banner, our banner. And what happens, unfortunately, is sometimes with the heat, the posters start to roll in, so they're hard to keep mounted flat. But if you have any questions, I'm here. Ask away. Or if you recognize any of those students who remain nameless, you can go find out. Sure.
So you mentioned that they can start work on this from the second semester of freshman. What do they do? I mean, before they enroll into the program?
Oh, they start the beginning of their freshman year. Beginning of their sophomore year, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
The beginning of their sophomore year is we look at a little bit of all the different types of sciences, all the different types of topics. They decide, oh, I really don't like chemistry, I'm a biology person, or I really like space, or I really am a math person. So we spend like the first, I'll say marking period, 2 months, just, I want one article from chemistry, one article from biology, one from physics, one from math. Did you like any of those? Yes or no? And then we go, some people come in and they know what they want, and that's great. Most of the time they come in and go, I like dolphins. Right, like, or and then it's, so the first marking period is usually trying to narrow down what it is they like, connections, things like that. Sure.
If the topic will be from chemistry, will the lab be allowed for any?
That would depend on the lab. Some labs don't allow anybody under 18. Some,
What about the school lab?
Oh, our school lab, yeah, we're fine.
Oh.
Oh, no, we're fine. And some experiments can be done here, and so that's why hence that mentor connection. They can give them the guidance on how to do stuff. Or the student is welcome to go there if the facility allows. And sometimes that's not a choice, that's a regulation that's in place. So chemistry is, if we have the equipment here, they can do it here. They also can go to the location and do it with, like the gal who worked at Monmouth University. She coincidentally had a house not far from Monmouth, so she was there for the summer. So she spent time at Monmouth University weekly doing a bunch of, but I've heard of people going to their son, their other son or daughter's apartment at a nearby college and doing work there. These stories are really endless. The possibility is endless. A lot of them get a connection through a summer program. Like I get a lot of emails about, do you have any students interested in? And they sign up and it starts that way. So the way you get the connection is very personal, unique.
How do you identify the mentors?
The students start with identifying them by reading, when they're reading the journal articles, they're also doing background information on the authors. And they will find hopefully a couple of authors that are repeating. And then I show them how to find contact information. And then we start with emails that hopefully will translate to a phone call or a Zoom call. Keep crossing. And hopefully that, progresses into something that's a nice connection. Sometimes it's hit or miss. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's like, no thanks, you're just a high school, then no thank you. And other times they love that young energy and want to foster the relationship and the energy. So sometimes if it's somebody sometimes there are family connections. Sometimes if it's somebody I know and you have an interest in math, and I've had a math mentor in the past, maybe they're willing to work with somebody again. So there's no right answer to that question.
So you mean the mentor has to have a PhD?
No, yes, but no. Highly
Because
qualified.
if you have the article in the journal, right,
That's
medical journal.
not necessarily. It can be in any type of journal. It doesn't have to be a medical
Oh.
journal. Does not have to be medicine. I'm going to tell you now, medicine is difficult because it is so highly confidential. They definitely usually have that 18 stringent law, and they usually are really confidential about helping anything. So
Okay,
the
so it doesn't have to be PhD.
No, usually if they're working in a university, they have a PhD, but it could be somebody highly qualified, which doesn't necessarily mean PhD, but an expert in their field, whatever that is. So no, it doesn't have to be, but that's the verbiage they use.
So how are these courses counted in the GPA system?
The first year is honors weight. And I believe it did pass that the second year, if they're co-enrolled, if they decide to co-enroll with the college, it's an AP weight.
Oh, so, okay, so basically the second and the third one.
Or it
that again.
would be, that's when the co-enrollment
Right.
starts. But the first one would be an honors GPA.
And then, sorry.
That's
And
okay.
how do you grade them, since it's very much individualized? How do you grade them for their performance in class?
Great question. The students ask the same one. So I could have bought it. I can go get it if you want. But there's a weekly conference sheet. And I asked them I believe it's 50 points. They have to acquire 50 points. And we talk about this. So like reading this type of an article is a 10-point assignment. Reading a journal article that's this long. So there's like breakdown, tiers of points. Like in the beginning, they're watching some YouTube videos because they don't have any knowledge of basic information. Sometimes they're starting with very elementary assignments because they don't have the content, and then we build it up. So then they get assigned when we have that conference. It's a one-to-one meeting with the student. We sit down, we make a plan of action. I know I'm going to see you for 2 weeks. During this 2 weeks, all right, you got to not count this because we have this day off, snow day, like those types of things. And we come up with a plan. We sit back down. How much of that did you accomplish? Now, class time often is sometimes split. Sometimes they have time to work on their personal objectives. Other times they're doing class assignment. Like when we present, the whole class is watching the presentation because the whole class provides feedback. It's a positive, helping, it kind of become very family. We find out a lot about each other as we're talking and working. They read each other's papers. There's a lot of peer critiquing. It's a very group oriented, and then other times it's you're on your own. This week is yours. It, kind of just ebbs and flows with the marking period. Any other questions? No?
So if a student is interested, should just enroll into the program?
Sure. The course that they would want would be this one. They can also tell their science teacher. The science teacher will know what to put in their recommendation. It should be listed as Introduction to Research Methods. Should be the first one that they would take. And again, it's designed to start with sophomore year. Should that not work in your schedule, it could be a junior. You could start junior year. You just wouldn't get that 6 credits. You would only have the honors and then course 1, not course 2, which happens. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Or they're not ready. Both options. So they can also talk to their science teacher that they have. They will understand what to do for recommendations. And if they have any questions, they're welcome to come to me. I'm in 315 right down the hall here. They can come find me, or any of the students if they recognize them, who are present. Most of them are sophomores. You can come see them. They'll tell you what to do. I will probably go into most of the science classrooms and explain this program to students because they also wonder. They'll know, and they can ask questions as well. Any other questions?
So a slight build on that one is, in order to start at the beginning of sophomore, when you decide and register?
They're going to start registering for classes probably February because teacher recommendations are due. I think it's February 2nd. I feel like the first, surprise, we're halfway through the school year. So the teachers make recommendations for classes, and then they usually start scheduling seniors first, then juniors, then sophomores. So you guys might not actually pick your classes till more like end of March. But the teachers will all have their recommendations in definitely probably mid-February, the very latest. And then, of course, there's schedule changing and those types of things that go on.
So the student need to talk to their teacher, like science teacher,
just to make sure the teacher knows that they're interested, because it's an elective. It's not something that the science teacher may say, "Oh, let me put this." They may have a conversation, but it's not like biology is going to recommend for chemistry. Chemistry is going to recommend for environmental or physics. They're going to recommend with the next course sequence. They're not going to recommend electives necessarily. So just make sure their science teacher knows. And if for whatever reason that gets missed, just circle it on your form. When I'm assuming they're still going to give forms that you're going to circle the courses you're interested. Just circle the course then. It's not a problem. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Your presentation was so clear.
Oh, I love it. I try to make it easy because it's a little confusing with the layers of information that are there. And it's a very different class for every person because you're going to get out of it what you put into it. But I can tell you that the 4 students that graduated in June are all in very nice colleges, all doing research with having, they're still in touch with me, and they just said the other day, their teacher mentioned something that was related to somebody else's paper that they knew about already, and they're all have very positive experiences and seem to be a lot further ahead with some skill sets than others because of what they've gone through. And a lot of them went through it with a twist of COVID. So they had the rougher version. Okay. Well, I won't hold you guys. If you have any questions, email me, call me anytime, send your students over to find me, or have them talk to their science teacher and they'll probably send them to me.
You mentioned something to co-enroll or to SUNY Albany, right?
That can't be done till their second year. So
Okay,
their
so-
sophomore year would be no co-enrollment.
But those credits are only accepted by that specific college, right? They can be transferred.
No, they can be transferred.
Oh, they
That's
can.
the beauty of this versus an AP
That
class.
depends only on the other college of how they weight, right?
Right, and how many credits they'll give them and what they will transfer, when they transfer, what course did that cancel out?
Okay.
Where AP classes, the college can go yes or no, but this is, you're getting a legitimate
Okay.
college transcript,
Gotcha.
they'll take most of it. The question is, what gets eliminated, by the course? Which that's a college specific question.
And it has to be only biology or chemistry, right?
Their
Math?
their research?
Yeah.
Oh, it can be in math. I had a very big statistical paper the last 2 years. He worked with a mathematician out of Montclair University. He was actually my keynote speaker last year. And he was doing stats and calculus that I'm going to think I never saw. So again, hence that mentor. So I can gain, I guide them, but sometimes they're doing stuff that you can't be an expert in everything. So that's the mentor's job. Yep. So no, their research topic can literally be in anything. We call it STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. But that's a very broad statement. When you look at the categories of competition, there's even like within chemistry, it's organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, and it's biology, microbiology. It's very broken down. You're welcome. If you have any questions, reach out. This will be posted on it'll be the high school website. The high school website. If you want, I can email it to you tomorrow. I'll email you guys all copies of this presentation. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I hope I answered some questions and didn't confuse you too badly. You're welcome to take a look at the poster, ask me anything you like, and get home before the snow.
Great.
If there's snow. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.